G'day Aussie Gridiron fans, welcome to the G'day Gridiron podcast and week 2 of our division preview month. All of August is division previews where we pick a point on the compass and we look at those two divisions. This week it is South week where we go to the AFC South and the NFC South, possibly the two dirtiest divisions in all of football. I have two fantastic gentlemen here with me this evening to go through both of these divisions. Isaac and Brad, how are we this evening? Brad, are you ready for your annual trip to the dirty, dirty South?
Damn straight I am ready. I feel like I'm in dirty company with my beanie bros over here. So, either that or we're planning to rob a bank. I don't know what's going on, but
we live south of the border, Brad. Like it's cold down here.
No, what cold? No, man. Today was like 22 or 23. I don't know.
Half your luck, Brad.
Yeah.
It was 5 degrees when I was driving over the mountain at 5 o'clock this morning. So and rainy, and gloomy.
No.
On a nice country road over the mountains.
Oh,
dodging dead wildlife. I actually was, seriously. There were a couple of monster wombats that someone had clearly hit, and I was like, well, thank God I didn't do that.
Yeah. I've heard wombats can really mess up your drivetrain.
I am mobile speed humps, mate. That's all they are.
Yeah, right. Okay.
They're incredibly fast animals, but when they there's like car lights coming at them, for some reason they just go, I'm going to stay here. Like
what? Wait, wombats are fast?
Oh, yeah, they can run.
Really?
Yeah.
I did not know that.
No, you wouldn't know it.
Do you want another fun fact about wombats, Brad?
Oh,
Yeah.
Please, Steve Irwin, go.
Their poop is square. It comes out as a cube.
Yeah, I did know that. Oh, man.
Incredibly loyal animals. Lovely. They will but they can be, when they want to be forceful or when they want to move, they will chase you and they will chase you down, Brad.
Really? They'll get aggressive. We should put up a side podcast about wildlife.
The wombats.
Brad learns about Australia.
Yeah. Next thing you know, you're going to tell me about drop bears and stuff. So.
2 decades in, Brad starts learning about the country he lives in.
I was just trying to find out about all the gun laws, you know.
All right. Well, that's a hell of a segue you've left me there then, Brad.
Yeah. I do what I can.
I've just got one more thing. As you can probably hear or see, we are missing Nick. And now the electrical substation at the 49ers practice facility is getting their fans.
Apparently.
Oh, poor Nick. I just found out about that. Was a good one. I just found out about that in the green room. So our condolences are with Nick, who's busted his arm.
Yes, he has. Possibly. He doesn't know. He's not sure. It's been a couple of days and he thinks he may have busted it. So
poor guy.
Nick really is a typical Australian where he just ignores any pain that is happening until it seems like it might be more of an inconvenience than you first thought. Jeez. And then you go to the doctors.
And he's getting a good lesson in our hospital system. What time did he text us saying he might not be on? It was like 10:30.
I'll give you the timestamps here. There you go. He said at 10:18, he said, may have a problem for myself tonight, currently in the ED. And he texted us at 6:10 and said, still here. I'm close towards speaking to a doctor, though.
Gee,
8 hours.
So he's had 8 hours of erectile dysfunction?
Yes.
Is that what?
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
He's even getting an X-rayed.
Holy cow, that's a massive ED. Sorry, I couldn't resist.
I went the other way. I thought, who is Ed? And why are you in him, Nick?
Yeah.
Ed and Eddie.
Speaking of the dirty South.
Here we are. It's definitely South Week. This wouldn't be any better. We have to talk about the AFC and NFC South, and then we just go blue. So, welcome to our annual Blue South podcast. Righto, boys. Well, we may as well get straight into it today. There's no weird, contentious discussions anybody wants to bring up today. You know, last week was one hell of a podcast, and surprised by the traction we got out of some of the social stuff. And
am I still persona non grata with the tackle or flag haters? So
they all unfollowed us, Brad. It's okay.
Yeah, it's all good, Brad.
Yeah, it's all right. They're going to pull our sponsorship. Damn it.
God. You guys are getting paid?
Oh, sorry.
All right, let's start with the AFC South. What a very, very interesting division AFC South is, as the NFC South is as well. But the AFC South more so than the NFC. So let's kick it off with, as we did last week, we'll kick it off with the team that won the division, and that is the Jacksonville Jaguars. And it's down to Brad to give us a bit of a start.
Yeah, no, it's my pleasure. The AFC South is one of those weird divisions, I guess. I feel like, how is the NFL trying to punish us a little bit? In this sense, we got two teams that won 25 combined games. In Jacksonville, they went 13-4. Houston goes 12-5 last season. And yet their projected win totals apparently are like at 8.5 and 9.5 for those teams. So this team this division is just not getting any respect. And the chief team amongst them that's not getting any respect is said Jaguars. So they're the regression team that's popular in the NFL right now, at least with all the bettors and the prognosticators and what have you. 13 wins, like I said, and now they're tabbed to only win 8 or 9 games. So, and the fact that they won 8 straight at the end of the regular season doesn't seem to play much into people's thoughts, or that they had 31 takeaways. Why wouldn't you think they're going backwards? I think it's a fair question, the idea of regression, even though we talk about how much we hate that. But you got to think, I feel like people want it both ways. Trevor Lawrence finally becomes Trevor Lawrence that everybody thought he would be, hoping that it would be. Throws for over 4,000 yards, 29 touchdowns. The offense sets franchise records. And yet people are bagging on him, saying, it's not going to happen. So I think, the fact that there's the coaching continuity, Liam Cohen returns for year 2. They keep their offensive coordinator. He's coming back, Grant Udinsky. Defense coordinator is coming back, Campanelli. And even their special teams guy is coming back as well. But they're being penalized for it. And it's kind of a mystery, I think, especially because their schedule is the 18th, their hardest schedule. So they're not getting pounded in terms of the schedule or anything like that. It's not easy, but to pick this team as only 8.5 wins, I think is kind of pretty disrespectful in my opinion. So yeah, they're going to regress a little bit, but I think to go back that much is just pretty severe. So if you ask me, I don't think they're going to regress that far. I don't know about you guys. What are you thinking? Are you think they're going to regress that far as well, or do you see them stepping up and getting into that 10 win, around that 10 win category?
I think they're going to be around the same. I really like Trevor Lawrence and Liam Cohen and what they're doing down there. I'm a little bit worried that Travis Etienne has left. He was quite good for him last year, so it all relies now on Bashal Tutin. But in his second year, so that's probably a bit of a worry that I don't think they signed anyone significant to take over from Etienne in the off season. So, I like them. Their defense was really good. last year. Their offense is good. I like Parker Washington in the, as a wide receiver. I like Brian Thomas should have a better year this year. So I don't really see him regressing. I think 13 wins is probably where they're at again. Maybe 12.
Oh wow, okay.
But yeah, I see him definitely going over.
T-minus.
So
2
you're
minutes.
okay. So you're kind of high on him. I mean, it hurts him losing Devin Lloyd, but I'm not totally buying into this massive regression talk. I don't know, Ian. What's your thoughts on him?
I wouldn't call it a regression as such. I think it's just the way their schedule lined up for me, and what I think about the teams that they're playing in terms of those teams coming up because of their collective schedules. I wouldn't say I'd got them regressing. I guess it's sort of more dropping to the mean, and I've sort of think that this division as a whole is going to be a lot closer than it was last year. In that even Tennessee, I think, will be a lot better and could surprise a few as well. And the Colts are still a little bit of a wild card, I guess. So I think I didn't have them getting to 13 wins.
1 minute to go.
And it is really that schedule plus those losses, those like Devin Lloyd and Travis Etienne as well. Losing them is big, as Isaac said as well. Chris Rodriguez comes in to sort of replace Etienne, but it's sort of, I don't know whether, he's really going to fill that gap as much. So they may not lean on the run game as much. And I just, for me, I think it is just all about that schedule. And it's the teams that they're playing, like Denver and New England, and they've got Philly and Baltimore. Like, these are some of the biggest teams. And down the stretch as well, when you've got the Cowboys, and obviously you take on the Texans there late in the year, and you've got the Bears as well. It's
10,
sort of,
9,
I don't know if it lines
8,
up really well.
7,
not as well as last
6,
year, anyway.
5, 4,
Can
3,
I give you
2,
my
1.
best bet for them, or do you want to?
No, go for it, Brett. You can throw it in.
My bet for them, if you're at all thinking of bets, and I'll have bets for each team as we progress through this, is the bet is Trevor Lawrence 25 and a half touchdowns. I personally, would, and that's paying $2. I would take that over on that. Just I really, because I do think their defense is going to regress a little bit, but it's going to create more passing opportunities. So I think over on Trevor.
Yeah, I think that's right, mate, and I think that gives a good indication of where you sort of feel, or where I feel that the Jags will be as in terms of playing as well. And of course, if anyone does want to get involved in the betting and best bets, we will have that after we get past the last division this year. So after we get past these 4 weeks, the week before we do our week 1 previews, we'll have our all over best bets segment. We'll bring in the best bets, and we'll talk about what we think as a whole for predictions for the season, like our Super Bowl winners, etc. as well. So there's going to be a big show on that too. So make sure you do liking, subscribing, following, all of that stuff everywhere, and look out for that. I don't mind you giving the bets up now either, though, Brad. Give people a bit of a taster.
That's exactly right.
A bit of a teaser. Righto. So the other question we've been asking after each one, Brad alluded to it there, under-over wins for the Jags this year is sitting at 8.5, which I actually think, I don't know, it feels low to me. But when I did my exercise in predicting everything, I went under that. So that's just me, but I'm guessing both of you boys sort of feel 8.5 is a little bit criminally low.
Yeah, for me it is. I'm definitely on the over. I mean, it's not huge. I'm not smashing it, but I'm taking the over.
Yeah, I'm taking the over as well. And Nick went the over as well.
And Nick went the over too. So yeah. Righto. Our next team, Houston Texans. Isaac?
The Houston Texans. Well, this year is make or break for Mr. CJ Stroud. I think if the year goes like it did last year, they'll be making a decision, I think, to move on. But if it goes like a couple of years ago and he has that good run and good lead into the playoffs, then they're probably going to have to lock him down pretty quick. at the present moment, if they get off to a bad start, I think they could get quite a good haul for him, like draft picks and players, if they move off him straight away and make that call early. But if they don't, then they're going to be in limbo all off season. We all know that what this defense is. This defense is the best defense in the league. It's just they need the offense to hold them up. The wide receiver core is quite good. I mean, Nico Collins, Jaden Higgins, Jalen Noel, and Tank Dell's coming back, who seems to be quite a favourite of CJ Stroud's a couple of years ago as well. So he may be a third or a second option for him. They did get David Montgomery this year, which is going to be an interesting one. Do they use Woody Marks as the speed guy and Monty as a bang him down the middle and run him over? So we're going to see. I see this being like not a good division, but it's going to be competitive. And I think the Titans might struggle to make the playoffs this year.
Yeah, I think you hit the nail on the head with their additions, though, mate. It is very interesting. I actually like it. You know, we've had a couple of years of them bringing in the experienced running back, and it just not working for them. So of course Joe Mixon's out, David Montgomery's in. I think they're going to find a lot in David Montgomery, and especially him being able. He's sort of out from that two-headed beast that they had at Detroit with him and Gibbs, and I think he's going to probably thrive in that role as that. Nearly every down back, I guess, and you know, we might see Woody Marks sprinkled in there here and there as well. Whether maybe they try and revive that, maybe that works with Marks and Monty this year. Their offensive line was absolute shite the last couple of years, and they've made a lot of changes in that regard. Wyatt Teller comes in, Braden Smith, Evan Brown as well there. And Braden Smith, yes. So all of them in. And picked up a good couple of guys on the defense as well in Clowney, Blankenship, and so I think it's really good things for them. I like their schedule. I like the way it really lines up for them. And I think with those additions in the offensive line, they're going to be a lot better. Those extra additions in Clowney, especially in Blankenship to the defense, which was already very strong, is such a great addition. And you're right. I think Isaac hit the nail on the head at the very beginning. This is a CJ Stroud year. It's very interesting to me that this week we are talking about these two quarterbacks. Of course, Bryce Young in the NFC South. These two guys that were 1 and 2, and both of them seem to be having similar career arcs and similar problems at the teams that selected them. So very, very interesting. Brad?
Yeah, you guys have hit on it. I think, you know, Houston, they built a Super Bowl roster, definitely on the defensive side, around CJ Stroud. And this is the year there where we kind of, you know, it's put up or shut up for him. And, you know, you talked about his trade value a little bit. I don't know. I mean, would a team give up a first for him?
I don't think so. Not at the moment. No way. I don't think so, Brad.
I don't think they would necessarily. So I like the fact that their offensive coordinator is coming back. So you've got year 2 in the same offense, because if he didn't have that, I feel like that would just be another excuse that they could throw out at him. But the fact that they've kind of overhauled that offensive line, but they've made it better for him. So really, I think it all depends on him. And I don't have a lot of stock in Tank Dell just because of that injury. I don't know if people remember, that was devastating. Oh, yeah. And so, yes, he took part in drills 11 on 11. I think it's for the first time since like 24 this year. So that's a great upside, but I don't know how much you're going to be able to get out of him. So it would not surprise me at all if they win this division, but I don't think it's going to be quite as easy. I think it's going to be that defense that carries them. And more than any other team, I think it all rests on Stroud and and how he's going to go.
I think it's very wise that they didn't instantly just give him the contract extension as well, that they've held back on that. And they've waited, because that does make this year a put up or shut up year, really. It is in that. Tank Dell, Brad, 100%. I mean, that man had a torn ACL, LCL, MCL, a dislocated kneecap and meniscus damage. And we already know that players that are coming back from ACL injuries in particular usually aren't at their best the first year back. It usually takes them an entire season to sort of really get that ligament back to where it should be. So, but if we just see positive, I think, progression for him towards the end of the year, then this could be really good for them. Go for a big finals push and going into finals as well. Because if they start getting Tank
6,
more sprinkled in towards the end of the season, then it's better and better and better.
2, 1.
Such a weird under-over once again for them. Brad, you said at the top, these guys had 12 wins last season. 9.5 is their under-over win total right now. Nick went the over.
I would go over.
I went the under. I don't see, like, Stroud coming out of the blocks 2 good years and then he's been just awful ever since. So I don't see him progressing any better.
I've got him just over that, so that's what I ended up with, just over 9.5. It is such a weird division for these under overs.
Yeah, it is. It's totally disrespectful.
I don't know if it's disrespectful. There's just these particular matchups and the way that their year has fallen in terms of schedule. I think for all these teams is very, very, very odd. Righto, let's move on to the Indianapolis Colts. What a weird story the Indianapolis Colts were in 2025. This team went 7-0 before even dropping a game, and then all of a sudden they didn't just drop a game; they dropped a quarterback. And the sky didn't just fall; the arse fell out of the thing as well. So the whole thing fell over, and then the Colts ended up 8-9. Only won one more game for the entire season. It all just completely fell apart. The biggest story for this offseason so far isn't actually any of these additions that they made to strengthen their team, which was, again, admittedly, was doing really well. Their defense needed a bit of propping up, so we've added some defensive ends and some DTs as well in Arden Key, Michael Clemens, Derek Nandy, Jerry Tillery as well. But it's the fact that they've sort of moved that whole team along. And as I said, the biggest story, though, apart from all of this, is in the last week, we started seeing these quarterback camp battles, and I put that in inverted commas. Of course, Daniel Jones is back fully healthy. The battle at the Colts was between who was going to take QB2 from Riley Leonard or Anthony Richardson. This week, it came out that they've demoted Anthony Richardson to QB3. What a fall for this man.
Wow.
What an absolute fall. But that also says, we saw him at the end of last season too, just how good Riley Leonard must be progressing as a player. So it's a huge thing. They did also add Easton Stick in here, so that will be very interesting to see what they do with Easton Stick in all this. I think that they're still going to try and get something for Anthony Richardson. God knows what they would even get for him at the moment. I would love to hear your thoughts, Brad, on whether they would even get anything for him if they've already said he's QB3, and considering his past, especially last year in 2024.
At best, you're going to get a late round pick for him, unless you're Jerry Jones and you want to give up a 4th. Thank you, Trey Lance. But no, I really think, you're going to get a 6th or 7th rounder at best. I don't know where he could go really, or who would be even willing to do it, because it'd probably be such a distraction. I feel bad for him a little bit. I mean, it's his own doing, but that's just immaturity. So I'm hoping that he's kind of grown up and he gets another shot at it and doesn't just take like the Jamarcus Russell route and you say, okay, I had my one good payday, I'm just going to fade off into the distance.
Yep.
So we'll see. In terms of this Indianapolis team as a whole, they're so dependent on Taylor. I just wonder if they can do that again. Like if he doesn't stay healthy, are they going to be able to do as well? So I felt like if there's any team that was dependent on one player, it was the Colts and Taylor, and their receiving cores hurt a little bit. So they've given a lot of money to Pierce, so we'll see, and they lose Pittman, so we'll see how that plays out. And they're just banking on Daniel Jones returning, pre-Achilles injury Daniel Jones. And so they've got a lot of expectations, and we all know they don't like to change. They like stability. I mean, how long has their GM been there? Forever and a day. And has he gotten any results? Not especially. So they're a team that's reluctant to change, but they're fun to watch. I just think a lot of it is going to depend on this Daniel Jones.
Yeah, I see. Even with Daniel Jones, I see a real regression in the Colts. Michael Pittman is probably going to be a bigger loss than what they think he's going to be. Alec Pierce, yes, he's good, but I don't think he's on Michael Pittman's level.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't even see him. Yeah, it's a rough schedule. You're looking at the start is really rough, so they're going to get off to a rough start. And I even think Shane Steichen's probably the first coach gone. To be honest,
how's those first 5 weeks, Isaac? I was going to mention that. Baltimore at KC, Houston, in London against Washington, and then come back and play at Pittsburgh the next week.
1 minute to go.
Michael Pittman revenge game. So yeah, I see. Yeah, my bold call is probably Shane Steichen's probably the first coach let go.
Wow.
I know, Brad, you were saying they like stability and all that, but yeah, from the way that last season ended, and if this season starts the same way, I don't think it's going to take him long. Like Jim Irsay's not there anymore. It's I know his kids have got it, but yeah, they may want to pull the trigger quicker than what Jim used to.
Yeah, well, I don't think Carly Ursay Gordon's going to mess around too much, to be honest. She doesn't seem like she wants to mess around. She wants to be in every aspect of the organisation and learn everything back to front. And she famously for years been on the sideline with a notebook and a headset on, listening to what's going on.
9,
and she seems to continue to involve herself that way. So 6, I think you're right, Isaac.
5,
I think we could see
3,
not just Steichen out, but we might see a GM change finally if it does all go south. This is one of those teams where I agonised over their schedule and their games, and I had a couple of shots at it, but every time I still came back to giving them at least 6 wins, or at most 6 wins, and because there's a couple of teams on their schedule, I'm like, I think that they will just beat. Of course, like they've got Miami and they've got the Titans, and I give them a couple just there. So there's at least 3 just there. It's very odd to me, and I couldn't make heads nor tail of their schedule and what to think of them. 7.5 is their under/over win total. I find 7.5 like more than the other 2 we just talked about in Tennessee and Jacksonville. I find the 7.5 for the Colts very weird. I've gone the under. Brad, what did you go for the Colts this year?
I'm torn. I can guarantee you this: they're going to start the season 0-3. That's for sure. They'll start 0-3. You might see some heads roll there. But I can't get it. I can't get past 7 wins tops with these guys. So that's where I'm topping out at.
I've got him going the under. As I said before, I see a real regression coming here, and under by a lot.
A lot. Yeah, okay.
By a lot. Right. Nick's got him as an over. I would have loved to have heard a lot from this. I think they just wanted. This is the most confusing team to me in these divisions. In both these divisions we're talking about tonight. This one is the single most confusing team because I just couldn't. The others I could sort of pick and I could make a case for. You are going to exceed an expectation, or you're going to be below expectations this year, like out and out. but the Colts were just like, what the hell happens?
Yeah,
You know,
I mean,
so.
in one sense, you're right. They're that mystery team that I could see. I could see them winning 4 games. I could see them winning 11 games. To be honest with you, I just don't know.
Yeah,
I
it'll
lean
go one or
towards
the
the
other.
under.
Yeah,
Yeah,
like, you know.
I lean towards the under, but it's not out of the realm of possibility that they, exceed everybody's expectations.
All right, let's move on. The last team in the AFC South, the Tennessee Titans.
All right, let's go. Let's see what the Tennessee Titans have got. I personally think, I reckon you're going to see a big leap out of the Titans this year. Like, not into the playoff type leap, but Cam Ward's going to progress. I love the way they've drafted and the new coaching staff they've got. I think they've made all the right moves. I cannot wait to see what Brian Dable does with Cam Ward and some new offensive weapons in Carnell Tate, Wandale Robinson, and hopefully Calvin Ridley stays out of trouble and healthy this year. That is a decent wide receiver room. I like that a lot. Now, the running back room is a bit, how you going? But like Tony Pollard could turn up again and be like he was in Dallas, and I think he had a bit of an under year last year. So if he returns to what he was at Dallas, man, watch out. I really love it. The defense, as we know, is probably going to improve under Robert Saleh as a head coach. I love Jeffrey Simmons. Like, he is so good. And in a relatively weaker division, I see them picking up some division wins here. Like, I reckon they may split with the Colts, and they could even split with the Titans. The Texans or the Jags here. And this one's for you, Taylor. Go Titans.
I love the early season narrative. Robert Saleh, new Tennessee Titans head coach, welcomes in the team that fired him as a head coach, the New York Jets, into the Titans Stadium. And they're both the Jets still being in flux, even after they fired Saleh a couple of years ago. It hasn't changed for them, and they're coming here. So Saleh has that opportunity to just coach up this team and really push them forward and get that win early on at home as well. What I don't like is week 2 then backing up against the Eagles, who will be coming into Tennessee as well. That's not going to be a fun time. And then you go on the road to New York against the Giants, and then against Baltimore, and then against Houston. So the rest of the first 5 weeks are not fantastic. I could see them possibly getting a win against the Giants, but I think the Giants are going to be plucky at home early on. So it's a very interesting time for the Tennessee Titans. I do like the way that they've drafted, as Isaac said, and I do like the moves that they made in terms of signing some guys as well, both old and new. And I think they're good news for the future, but I don't know whether the future is 2026 or whether we're looking sort of 27 and beyond.
Yeah, to me, Tennessee is they're the classic. And we talked about this a little bit last week with some of the teams in the North Division. But better doesn't mean necessarily you're going to have a good team. I feel like they're going to be better, but they're not a good team yet. I like what they're doing. I love Robert Saleh. I think Brian Dable is a great fit for Cam Ward, and Dable's only job is to just focus on Cam Ward and coach him up because that's why they made him the number 1 pick. That's why they brought these guys in. So they still have a lot of faith in Cam, and they need Cam to work. So they're putting everything they can around him. Saleh is the perfect guy for the defense. So all the indicators are there to find out. Now, I'm not saying he is going to succeed, but to find out if Cam Ward is truly going to be your franchise quarterback or not. I think their schedule it's okay. It's not an easy schedule, but it's a middle of the road schedule and like that. But I can't see these guys. What's their over under? Is it 6.5?
Do we know? Their over-under is 6.5. Well done, Brad.
Okay, yep, 6.5. So, I mean, I can see him getting to 7, but I mean, frankly, I wouldn't bet on this team. But if I had to, I'd probably by the width of a pubic hair, I'd say over. Because who doesn't measure the width of their pubic hairs? So, sorry.
Yeah, I was just looking at their schedule then when you guys were talking, and for a fourth place schedule, that's pretty. Like it's one of the harder ones of the fourth place schedules.
The fourth place.
1 minute to go.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say it's overly difficult, but I'd say it's one of the harder fourth place schedules. But I can see him. I can see him picking up 7 wins, like quite easily. Actually, looking at that, if they split 2 out of their division games with one of the teams, I can see him getting 5 other wins there.
I mean, I could see him. Jets, they win. Giants, and this is my opinion. Giants, they win.
Yep.
Indy, I could see him splitting. Cleveland win. Right there, you've got 4 wins going into the bye in week 9, and then on that back end, you just need to pick up 3 more, and you've got Pittsburgh, Vegas, Washington.
10,
those
9,
are all winnable
8,
games.
7.
Those are the ones I was looking at.
5,
Right,
4, 3,
Indy and
2,
probably the Texans are split in their division. You can see them. You can see where the wins could come if they get over 7.
If they split with the Texans, I think they should be happy about that.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you right now, I had them winning against the Jets, the Browns, and the Commanders.
That's it.
3. I still had them going.
Oh, you
3.
have them only a 3 win? Wow. Okay.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just because of where some of the other teams are later in the season. And I think it's just going to be, you'll get to a point where, not tanking, but I think other teams will push in their divisions, because that's what was happening when I was doing my predictions, was there were some very tight divisions they were coming up against, like teams in tight divisions. So there'd be teams that'd be more eager to win their game than the Titans, and they may push them to the brink. Plus, look at 10 through 18, and if you're following us on YouTube, the graphics are there, so please go to YouTube and you'll see all these graphics. Like, you've got Jacksonville twice, you've got the Cowboys, you've got the Lions. Yes, you've got the Colts, and I said I was getting the Colts to 6. But I think the Raiders, by week 16, might be that weird team that might get a win there. And then you've got Pittsburgh and the Texans. Like,
yeah, I thought that looking at that then, Pittsburgh would be the same, but the other way. Like, if Pittsburgh are out, Aaron Rodgers won't play. Who they got backing him up? Like, that's where another win can come.
Yeah, Pittsburgh are a weird team though too. We talked about that last week. It's just that they're a good team, and the quarterback is going to send them either way. You know, like they're a really talented team. So the team could prop themselves up even with another quarterback. Righto. So, well, there you go. I had them going under that 7.5. You boys had them over. Nick had them over. Righto. Well, let's have a look at how we pick the divisions. Some very interesting stuff. I'll give you Nick's straight up. So 4, 3, 2, 1. Nick went Titans at 4, Colts at 3, Jags at 2, Texans at 1. Brad?
Texans just barely. I think I wouldn't surprise me if the Texans and Jags finish in the same record, but I'm going Texans, Jags, Colts, and Titans.
And I'll tell you what, I'm the same. I've got the same as Nick and Brad. And then Isaac mixed it up on us. Totally.
I do. I've got the Jags winning the division. I've got the Texans, then the Titans, then the Colts.
And there you go. So that's AFC South. What a great amount. So, like I said, very, very weird division this year. It's such a hard one to pick. This next division though, NFC South, I know I say it every year because it's a Bucks thing, okay? But I really like this division this year just because it is just totally wild. Not because they're going to be good at all.
It's so shit.
Yes, thank you. Let's clarify that.
Because I think all 4 teams have the possibility of being completely equal, and we could see the weirdest finish ever to a division.
Yeah.
Like, it was bad enough last year where we had 3, 8, and 9 teams, but like it's it's this division, NFC South, could get even weirder if the Saints get better, as we think that they probably should. Well, as I definitely think they should. Well, I think everybody thinks that they should get better than last year. But yeah, it's just going to be insane. So let's talk about that. We're going to kick it off with the Carolina Panthers. And no, we didn't go with the man that picked them for the Super Bowl last year, because I thought I'd give that prediction a rest, Isaac. Brad is going to kick us off with the Carolina Panthers. I know he's watched a lot of Panthers football over the years.
I think your point about this division was pretty spot on. You know, what did we have? 3 teams finishing at 8 and 9. And then the Saints winning their last 4 games in a row. So who knows what can actually happen in this division? That there is no obvious heavyweight here. I think what it comes down to is the things like coaching, your quarterback stability, and more than any other division, personally, I think the schedule is going to have a huge impact in this game. So, or in this division. So, Carolina specifically, they're the defending division champs, much to Isaac's pleasure. And, again, I think this is a case where they could be a better football team and they're going to win fewer games. Bryce Young had his best NFL season. He threw for over 3,000 yards, 23 touchdowns, and the team picks up his 5th-year option, which, if you would have looked at Bryce Young a couple of years ago when they benched him for that 4 game, if you would have said, no, the team's going to pick up his 5th-year option, I would have said, no way. But he's really, with the help of Dave Canales, has kind of turned it around and salvaged his career, really. So, and he's a poster child for why you shouldn't necessarily start quarterbacks as a general rule when they're rookies. Ted McMillan, he looks like a legitimate wide receiver 1. The defense has added talent. So there's some legitimate reasons, I think, for optimism until you get to the schedule. It's that schedule. So they have, by a lot of metrics, the 3rd hardest schedule in the NFL. And that is, I think, what's going to separate the teams in this division. So that's rough. And not only that, but they enter into camp. Sorry, they don't know what's happening with their tackle, Ekwonu. He's recovering from an injury that he had in the playoffs. They got their Tyler Morton. He's got blood clot issues as well. So they do have these issues, and we'll see if Bryce can kind of overcome it. I like some of the choices that they've made. I really am a big Canales fan. He's actually not going to be calling the plays this year. They're going to be, he's passing it off to Idzik, his OC, and he's going to be calling plays for the first time. So we'll see how that goes and what kind of variable that has. But I like what they've done on defense. They've really invested a lot in that defense in the offseason. And I think those have made some big changes. So if they're going to repeat as division champions, it's going to be on the back of that defense.
Yeah, they're going to find it really hard. Like you were saying, Brad, that schedule is just brutal. And especially going 8 and 9 with a 4th place schedule from the previous year. Like, you would have wanted to win more games. But, Rico Dowdle was really good for him last year, and he's gone. Chuba Hubbard, does that mean Jonathan Brooks is going to come in and really light the house on fire and do what he needs to do, coming off 2 ACL injuries? Like, it's very up in the air.
2 minutes.
I like Bryce Young. I think, like you said before, Brad, when he come back from being benched, I think it showed maturity and that he could be an NFL quarterback. So It's going to be interesting to see if he develops along some more. The wide receiver core is good, but as you said, the defense is the one that's going to keep them afloat in this division, and they could go 8-9 again and win the division again. Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. And this is an example of, the Anthony Richardson, I feel like, needs to take note of how you respond when adversity comes your way. You don't tap out, but you do what Bryce did, and you keep a good attitude. So anyway, Ian, what's your thoughts on Carolina?
Yeah, I think Carolina, I think Carolina are going to be one of those teams, like you kept saying, Brad.
1 minute to go.
Better might not mean being like
a better record.
Yeah, better record. Yeah. I think they're going to be better. I think that they've made the additions they made are really good. I actually like that addition or that move. Andy Dalton, they trade him away, and then they bring in Kenny Pickett. Good idea. And then someone a bit younger, maybe a bit closer to Price as well. Someone who's also had some issues in terms of longevity in the league. He's not going to be someone that's going to fight for your spot either, which I think is a big thing. But then they had the Hall of Fame game, and Haynes King played out of his skin. So towards the end of the game, actually won them the Hall of Fame game. It's more because his rushing ability was just unbelievable
10,
and generated some headlines.
9,
so that could cause a
8,
problem for
7,
Bryce down the track. But
5, 4,
I don't know.
3,
I like them as a whole
2,
this year.
1.
But I do think there are still a lot of questions, and I think it does revolve for me around that wide receiver core. Xavier Legette is looking more and more like a bust. The guy just hasn't lived up to any expectation that's been thrown in front of him, and it's very hard to get your head around him. They're lucky, I think, that they picked up Ted McMillan last year. I think that addition really saved that. And Jalen Coker was sort of a lot better, and John Mechie sort of added some spice in there at some point. But I would just love them to see like Xavier Legette just take a big leap forward this year. I don't know. They're I've got them going backwards from that 8 and 9. But as I said, it is that weirdness with this division where I think that they could all be better in terms of their records or the way that they play games, and they're going to be actually competing against each other in a division, which we want in any division, is all 4 teams being capable enough of being wherever. Their under-over is 7.5. I've got them going under. And if I look across, Nick had them going under as well. Boys, what, 7.5, Brad?
Yeah, under.
I've got him going over by that width of a pubic hair that Brad was talking about last time.
You haven't lived until you flossed with the pubic hair.
Stop it there. Stop.
Well, sorry. As the Muppets said, moving right along. It's Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Who's taking that one?
I am. I get so. Yeah, look at that. Me, doubling up. All right. Basically, Tampa. They're my pick to win the division. And I'm not actually. I know I'm letting the cat out of the bag here early, but and I'm not pounding the table on that. Essentially, the Bucks. I feel like are going to just scrape by with that win. But the reason I'm choosing the Bucks is Ian's favorite player, Baker Mayfield. I feel like that he's the difference when it comes down to it. He's a competent quarterback. He's actually more than he's a good quarterback. Last year he was far from brilliant. He throws for almost 3,700 yards, 26 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. But the Baker that has a chip on his shoulder is, I think, the best version of Baker, and that's what you're going to see this season. He's doing whatever he can to self-motivate, and he's he's going to come out just and going balls to the wall, and I think he's going to have a great year. Yes, they have to do it without Mike Evans, but you've got already a legit number one, I think, in their wide receiver room. So, and surprise, surprise, he's got a new offensive coordinator, but this is Zach Robinson. He does have a little bit of experience with them from when he was at that brief stint in the Rams. So I think there is some familiarity there. So I like what they're doing. I think what also helps them is the fact that this division is just so mediocre across the board, that I think that's going to help them make some mistake. That offensive line is good. I feel like that they can run behind it. So you're going to see Bucky Irving, and Baker doesn't have to do everything. He can hand the ball off. So I think they're going to ride Baker all the way to that mediocre division title.
So I think this all depends on the contract extension talks. If they get done before the season, they'll have a good season. If they drag out during the season, I reckon Baker could potentially throw the toys out of the cot. I reckon he could just say, "Fuck it." Like, I've played this well. He was like, if you remember last year at the start of the season, he was in MVP conversation.
Oh yeah, he was legit MVP.
Flying.
Yeah,
and I think that was mostly with Mike Evans, and Ibuka was in there for the last bit, but he kind of faded towards the end there. So I think, as you said, Brad, Mike Evans is probably a bigger loss than what we're going to see. That was his favourite target. That was his favourite one to go to. And now, yes, he has Ibuka, but, geez, it takes a lot to replace Mike Evans. And we can't forget about the Vita Vea trade request. Like, he's out of there from what you read on reports. So they may be decimated some even more. So, yeah, I like Ruben Baines. I think he's going to come in with a chip on his shoulder, the way he gets draft and everything like that. But you need the offense to fire, and yeah, I just don't see it happening.
Okay. Ian?
Well, I mean, I like the losses are hard for the Bucks.
Yeah,
obviously we go Mike Evans, huge loss. Mr. Tampa Bay, you lose him. It's big. Levante David, Jamal Dean, Logan Hall, all very important losses.
2 minutes.
Rashad White leaves. They replace him with Kenneth Gainwell. Kenny Gainwell for so long has been Mr. Red Zone. Like that dude has been an anytime TD savant when it comes to betting. It's been amazing. So he's there now with Bucky Irving. That could be a really, really good thing. Interesting move that I actually thought that they made. Well, number one, for me, both you boys mentioned it. I think Baker will be playing with a chip on his shoulder, but I think that's going to be contract or not. I think he is. Because no contract, Baker's going to be going, I'm going to show all these other teams that someone can pick me up so that he can prove to the Bucks that they should have paid him. Because if they don't give him a contract, in Baker's mind, that'll be it. I won't be getting I don't want a contract from you at the end of the season. It'll be, I want a contract for someone else and I want what I think I'm worth, and he'll play out of his skin. So you're going to have a pissed off Baker Mayfield.
1 minute
You're going to have Ruben Bain coming into the league with a chip on his shoulder, which is going to be phenomenal. You're going to have Kenneth Gainwell coming in there. You've got Roseburg.
Alex Anzalone coming over from Detroit.
Yeah.
He plays like a house on fire.
Doesn't he? And that man has flowing golden locks, and good Lord, what an amazing thing. The other interesting addition is Jake Browning, which I think, that's a very interesting addition as a QB2 when you're not paying your QB1. It's kind of like, hey, if you don't perform, this guy's here, and he played with his pants on fire last year. For a very long period of time. So that's going to be very, very interesting in terms of the QB dynamic.
10,
because
9, 8,
Browning wasn't huge
7,
for touchdowns, but
6,
he knew how to take care of the ball,
5,
and he knew how to manage
4,
a game. So
3,
very,
2,
very interesting.
1.
It should come as no surprise to anybody that I did my exercise without thinking that anything about I'm not going to favour the Bucks on anything, and somehow they came out on top. I genuinely did not try. I went through this schedule bit by bit, and the first time I did it, I think I had them at like 11 wins, and I was like, that ain't right.
Yeah.
And I dialed it back a bit, you know. So, yeah. I must say though, this is all before the Vita Vea stuff. This hinges on Vita Vea. That defense hinges on Vita Vea.
Yeah, I think yes, Vita Vea, and I do like some of these changes that they have made, but I think you're right. He's a huge impact. So the win total for Tampa Bay is 8.5. I personally, I would pass on this only because I think their ceiling's 9 wins. I still think they're going to win the division with 9 wins, but I can't see a path over that. So yes, I'm taking the over, but only slight. Isaac, what are your thoughts?
I'm on the under. Like I don't see the Bucks doing much this year. I think they're going to be down the bottom half, to be honest. So I've hit them with the under.
Okay, so I've got the over. Isaac's got the under. Ian, what are your thoughts?
What are my thoughts on the Bucks?
On the over under.
Over.
Yeah, we knew
I think Nick's got him going over as well.
No, Nick had under.
Under, yeah.
Oh, did he?
Under. Nick had under.
Okay. Nick had under. All right.
Yep. No, I've got him going just over 8.5.
Okay.
Just. I did dial it back, so it is just. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I didn't go too over the top.
I'm projecting 9 wins for him.
Yep. Righto. Well, good. I'm glad I'm similar then, Brad. All right. Let's get on to the Atlanta Falcons.
As everyone knows, I'm a big Falcons fan.
Fly, Eagle, fly.
So a new coach, same old Falcons. I can't. Who's going to start at QB? Like we got Michael Penix or Tagovailoa. Who are they going to throw to other than Drake London? Will there be another breakout year for Kyle Pitts? As we know, the new coach likes a good tight end. He loves a good tight end. So, but the biggest part for me is the QB. Like who's going to play QB? Bijan is going to be Bijan. The defense, I don't think we'll be able to keep them afloat. So for me, the Falcons, I think Tua's going to start. I really do. I think he's going to be the QB1 to start. But if he starts to falter, then they're going to put Penix straight back in there and see what they've got. But at this stage, it's another mid-year for my Falcons.
Yeah, I found them really intriguing. You guys know that I followed the Falcons quite a bit a couple of years ago, when Smith was their coach, and I felt like last year they really kind of leaned into that potential, and utilized Bijan for what he can, and they really relied heavily on him. And I like Stefanski. We can't forget Stefanski was 2-time Coach of the Year with
for
Cleveland.
A reason. For a reason.
Yeah, exactly.
With Cleveland.
Exactly. Yeah,
one of the
in
worst
Cleveland.
franchises on the planet.
Yeah.
In all sports.
And he knows that this offense has got to run through Bijan. He didn't, Tua and Penix aren't going to be throwing, 700 balls this season. So he's going to use a lot of play action, and I think you're going to see Bijan featured, and he's going to have another great year, assuming he can stay healthy. But as we found out this week, Stefanski's he's not coaching the pass rush, and that pass rush is hurt. So this week they lose Jalen Walker. He's out for the season with the ACL. James Pierce, he's gone for 8 games, it looks like. So they just signed some scrub off the street. So to me, in my opinion, that has really downgraded them. Is that pass rush they hurt themselves by losing those guys. So schedule works out okay for them, but I think they've got too many hurdles. If the over under, because I think originally the over under was 7.5 on them. If it's 7.5, I'm running to the bank all day taking the under. If they've bumped it down to 6.5, then personally I wouldn't touch it very much. But I think they've got a number one wide receiver in London, in my opinion. They've definitely got a number one back, but there's still just too many holes especially on the defensive side.
They brought in Brian Robinson. Is it because they didn't have enough B. Robinsons in the running back room already?
Right.
Imagine the fantasy people in fantasy drafts.
It's going to be wild.
Brian Robinson Jr.
B. Robinson and B. Robinson on the Falcons. Brad, it wasn't until I looked at the QB depth chart that I even realised your boy Cooper Rush is at QB3 for this team as well.
T-minus 2 minutes.
When we talk about the fact that what are they going to do at QB, it's not just Tua and Penix. It's like Cooper Rush sitting behind him going, I got your job, boys. Put up or shut up. It's because we've seen Cooper Rush come in with the Cowboys and play phenomenally. And just manage a game, and that's all they need to do. I love the fact that they thought enough of Drake London to definitely keep him around, but then just go, we're going to add in, we need to have 2 more guys so that you are our wide receiver 1, to show him that he's the wide receiver 1. We need 2 more guys here that can take that heat off you. And they bring in Jahan Dotson and Zacchaeus as well. So that, and these guys are straight away wide receiver 2 and 3. So they go straight into that, the 11 team stuff. So it's just great. And then they bring in depth as well at wide receiver, which is what they needed to do because it's what they lacked the last couple of years.
1 minute to go.
Even with Kirk Cousins throwing to Darnell Mooney most of the time, and then Drake London, it just didn't work well at the end of the year. So they brought those guys in. And can we maybe see with 2 quarterbacks that are actually trying to challenge each other, Kyle Pitts actually have a tight end year that he should? Can he finally make something of himself? They've given him the money to do it, so let's go out there and do it, Pitts. But you know what? They're still the Falcons to me, and the Falcons are still going to Falcon. And unfortunately, that's I can't say much about what's going to go on. I mean, they've got a last place division schedule, but the problem they've got is the divisions they're up against outside of their own this year. The last place is
10,
a very strong
9,
team, a team
8,
that had was
7,
injury
6,
hit, and then they've
5,
got those. So
4, 3, 2, 1.
Does Tua not remind you when he's kitted up in the Falcons gear of Brucey from The Longest Yard? Does he not remind? That's the first. I did my research on this and I seen Tua and I was like, damn, that's Brucey from The Longest Yard.
Well, I'm going to have to go and look at this now. Which one do you want to talk about? With the helmet on?
Yeah, with the helmet on.
With the helmet on? Okay.
Yeah, I was going to put up a picture and do it like side by side.
Side by side.
Yeah.
Tua Tagovailoa is the doppelganger for Brucey from The Longest Yard.
Oh, yes. That's just the cap off the Falcons.
Yeah, right.
That's exactly the photo.
He kind of looks like fat Tony Romo a little bit.
Poor Tony. Let's call it. Tony's had a hard enough year as it is, Brad.
Oh, no. Have a couple of drinks, Tony.
Yeah. I love Tony Romo, but man, come on, make better choices.
Righto. The final team for tonight and the final team in the NFC South, the New Orleans Saints. All right. What can we say about the Saints? Well, the Saints have, I guess, a wide range of expectations for 2026, hinging heavily on young talent and a transition away from what has been a veteran-heavy era in New Orleans. Tyler Shuck's ascension last year after winning 4 straight, as we said, at the end of the year, going 5-4 down the stretch in 2025, means that he is definitely the starter for this year. It means that the Saints may have, as we've discussed before, finally found something that they didn't expect they would find. End of an era there, though. Taysom Hill is not returning. He said he's just not returning to the Saints. We're all waiting with bated breath for that signing to the Denver Broncos, which we all know is coming. Alvin Kamara, though, he signed on for another year, another contract. Alvin Kamara says, I'm going to finish my time in New Orleans, so he's coming back. They did sign Travis Etienne as well from the Jags, presumably because Alvin Kamara is so friggin' old that they're not sure how he's going to be. No, I'm kidding. Because Kamara obviously is one of the best pass-catching RBs in the league. Still is, even at his age. And Etienne will be just phenomenal as that actual the running back coming out of the backfield as well. New targets, rookie wideout Jordan Tyson was a good pickup. Alongside returning star Chris Olave should go pretty well. And some veteran additions in the trenches with David Edwards, who joins the young tackles in Kelvin Banks Jr. and Talalisi Fuaga. All in all, the Saints, I think, have a pretty interesting schedule. I think the end of last season, where they won those games, as we said, 4 in a row last season, and against some of their own division opponents when they were fighting for a division title. So they really spoilt the party there. I think the Saints are going to be a little bit better this year. I think they're going to surprise a couple of teams on their schedule list as well. So I think that they will definitely be a lot better than last season. Brad, thoughts on the Saints for 2026?
Yeah, they're actually my favorite team just in this division in the terms of the optimism, I think, especially compared to last season. So Kellen Moore, I thought, did a great job. Ian and I are high on Kellen Moore, but they started 2-10. Then they win their last 4 out of the 5. I'm sure much to the chagrin of their fans that were obsessing over their draft pick. But hats off to Kellen Moore, because they find something in Tyler Shuck and they build the offense around his strengths, and it works. They did it. Now the key will be, okay, now that teams have film and everything on them, can they replicate that? Can they grow off of that? So Kellen coming in year 2, Shuck, that's also, that continuity is really important for a quarterback. You've got Chris Olave, who's a good wide receiver. You can debate a little bit if he's a legitimate number 1, but I think he's right up there. Then you bring in first round pick Jordan Tyson. You got Travis Etienne. What concerns me, so that offense is looking good. What concerns me though is that defense a little bit. I know they've tried to do some things with it, but the injuries have really bit them. So we'll see. But I think it's the schedule that does them all the favors personally. The fact, they could start 0-2, but I would not panic. In fact, I expect them to be 0-2 when they start. But then I think they're going to go on a little bit of a run. When you've got Las Vegas, Atlanta, Minnesota, Giants, Pittsburgh, those are all conceivably winnable games. So it would not surprise me at all if they go into that bye having a positive record. And we'll see where they can go from there. So in terms of the over-under, I believe it's 7.5, and I'm taking the over all day personally on the Saints for this.
Yeah, I want to kind of key a new phrase, if we can, for the people like Ian and the Tyler Shuck fans. They can be known as the Shuckers. And
Mother Shucker.
He shucks. He throws a ball, and he's a shucker. But yeah,
1 minute to go.
I'm along the lines of you guys. I see him really improving this year, and this is probably one of the teams where you see them improving, and their record improves for that. like we were talking about before in the other divisions where they might be a better team, but their record's not going to reflect it. But I think this is one of the ones where it's going to be reflected in the record. I like Travis Etienne at running back. I really like that two-headed monster there with Kamara. And from the video you're seeing, yes, it's training camp. You see all these videos coming out, but Jordan Tyson is putting some people on notice in training camp. He's putting some film out there, so I'm going to love to see that. And yeah, I like the Saints this year. Potential of a very big potential
10,
to go
9,
from last
8, 7, 6.
I think they've got the potential
4,
to do that.
3,
On a neutral
2,
field, I take Tampa
1.
Bay all day long. But to me, the difference is the schedule. New Orleans has a much easier schedule.
Did you know that the New Orleans Saints were the number 9 ranked defense last year?
No, I knew they were good. I didn't know they were top 10.
Number 9, top 10. The Saints were last year,
that's
even
impressive.
with those injuries, Brad.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm.
So I think it's all. That's why I think it's all looking up for them this year to get some guys back. One final note on the Saints. Everybody's favourite MILF hunter, Zach Wilson, lands at the Saints as QB2.
What's MILF hunter, Ian?
No, stop.
Just another thing on that schedule, just looking at it there. So in their first 9 games, they got 1 bye and 3 away games. So the back half of that season is going to be particularly brutal. So
there's a lot of away games. There's
a lot of away games there on the back half of the schedule, which means it's going to be rough for them.
5 out of their last 8 are away. Yeah, but in that first half of the year though, is week 6 in Paris as the New Orleans Saints against the New York Giants. What a matchup! Will actually be good. Will actually be good. Right, let's look at our NFC South standings. I will give you Nick's again first up. Nick went with the Bucks winning the division, Saints in second, Panthers in 3 rather, and then the Falcons in 4. Mine is actually identical. What a surprise, Isaac.
That's all right. That's okay.
Brad?
I think the graphic is well, I know the graphic's different from what I have in my head, so I apologize if that's what I gave you.
Well, let's let the cat out of the bag here. Brad doesn't know how to use a document.
What? You're shocking. So
Let me see if I got that wrong, Brad.
The other way.
I did. Sorry.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
So you tell everyone what you had.
Yeah, I've got Tampa Bay winning, then the Saints, then the Panthers, and then the Falcons.
Oh, so you had the same as Nick and Ian.
Correct. That is correct.
I personally have the Panthers 1.
What a surprise!
The Saints 2, Falcons 3, the Bucks 4.
It would seem that you and I have love affairs with NFC South teams, Isaac.
We got to pick one of these in the shit division, don't we?
I wouldn't have thought you'd have the Panthers winning. When I saw that, I was putting the graphic together. I was like, what the hell?
I love it.
I thought after last year it'd be a once bitten, twice shy kind of scenario, you know?
Hey, you come off last season. That's all right.
Well, you picked them for the Super Bowl, so let's just slow down with it. Come on. Can I just one final thing for today on a little bit of NFL news, just because I asked Brad a question today and he didn't actually answer me on text. So I want to get Brad's response to Jerry Jones giving Quinnen Williams a massive 3-year, $105.9 million extension. A ridiculous amount of money for any player at all.
Yeah.
Brad, what are your thoughts on your new long-time defensive tackle?
I love the guy. I think I want to see him stay as a Cowboy, and they do have a love affair. They tried to trade for him earlier, and they couldn't get him. So they've wanted him for a long time, and he's done everything right. Um, I did, I'm just a little perplexed just because we don't pay out guys ahead of time. So it just seems so different from how the Cowboys have been operating. I don't. It's going against everything I know about Jerry. Normally Jerry waits and waits and waits, and then he overpays tremendously. Now he's overpaying, but at the front end instead of the back end. So, I don't mind it, but I think the jury is still out. I think Jerry also was just absolutely sick of seeing people just run all over him, and he knows that for this Christian Parker defense to work, they've got to be able to stuff the run with interior pressure. So they're banking on Quentin being able to do that.
When I saw that that number for Quentin Williams, that's what stunned me, and I didn't text Brad because it's 105.9 million in total for 3 years. $63.35 million guaranteed at signing.
Oh.
$101 million total guarantees.
Yeah. I mean, it's just, and they've been open about, wanting to do it and anything. I wonder a little bit, how's it going to play out in the team? Because you guys, I don't care if you're on offense and that guy's on defense. Guys notice that kind of stuff and they think, well, how's he getting that? So, by all accounts, he's just being the absolute quintessential leader that you'd want for that defense. But if I'm Pickens, man,
I was gonna point that out. Like George Pickens, didn't they tag him?
Yeah.
Yeah,
and they could tag him
after last year when he led the wide receiver corps when Lamb was out. George Pickens paid phenomenally, and then they tag him and they give Quentin Williams 105.9 over 3 years, 63 million straight up.
Yeah. But I think, to be honest with you, this is the effect of Quentin Williams has been a good guy and a team guy his whole career versus George Pickens has had 1 year of being a good guy. So to me, that's the difference. And I hope he kind of walks away with going and say, okay, yeah, I did what I needed to do for a year, but it's only a year, man. You got to do that over your whole career. Then you can get the bag.
Yeah. Anyway, I really wanted to get your thoughts on that, Brad, because I thought it was incredibly interesting. So
it is. It is fascinating. And it'll be good to see the team dynamics, how that plays out.
Will be.
Do you want a little NBA news?
Yes, always.
Okay, so opening night, NBA, OKC at San Antonio.
Oh.
And then the other game, the earlier game, LeBron James, Philadelphia 76ers at the defending champ, New York Knicks. That's gonna be sick.
Oh, that's gonna be epic.
Yeah,
that's gonna be. And what is KD gonna play for the Philadelphia or the Knicks? We'll see. Yeah, that's good. That's cool. Yeah. That's exciting. Hey, look at that. Man. We finished the South.
Well, we did. We finished the South. And next week we will talk a little bit more Cowboys because we're going to be on to the East week next week. So that's going to be very, very interesting. You can find everything to do with Gday Gridiron on our socials, Instagram and Facebook at Gday Gridiron. You'll also find us on YouTube if you're listening to this on Spotify or Apple right now. Head on over to YouTube, please. Watch the video, give us a follow, subscribe there as well. Maybe comment, hit us up there. We're just trying to get the numbers up on YouTube. So please, any help would be greatly appreciated. Linktree/Aussie Gridiron Network for all the links to everything in the Aussie Gridiron Network. Our show, Man, John and Pastry Press, and Maddie and Taylor, who are right in the thick of their fantasy draft season now with the Aussie NFL Supercoach show. So please head over and check out all the links and check out all of our stuff if you haven't already. Thank you very much for joining us. East week next week, where we get to talk about a lot more very, very interesting teams. Let's go. See you later.